I made a video on this fan which disappeared, and I'm kind of irritated about that because it was a good video. I put the video onto the computer and then I put it all into the editor and I combined 3 or 4 clips and then I saved it and then I uploaded it and everything seemed to upload okay, so I deleted it off the camera and off the computer, and then I went to release it and only the first clip was there. The other 3 clips wasn't there, and of course it was already gone, so I couldn't remake it. So unfortunately all I can show is the aftermath of this project. I would have liked to have shown what I did because I took the time to record it and I thought it was kind of interesting, but inherently it will not be shown. Anyways, this is a cheap fan that I took from work. Somebody was showing it out. It's made in China. They used to use it in the call center, but it got so loud it really couldn't do that anymore. And so then it just kind of kicked around the office until somebody put it into the recycling room, and then I took it. And I was using it up here in the window there, and it worked really good, but it was so loud it just wasn't tolerable to use, during a video or anything. So I decided to replace the motor because I recalled that I had another motor which I put into one of those chill out fans, and I never used it. I think I used it maybe once to dry something over the counter there, but I really never used it at all. So I decided that motor wasn't serving any good in there, and I decided to put the motor into this fan because this is the original motor and it was just spoiled. The bearings are too loose. I mean, not too loose, they got too much play, they're rattly. So that's that. Now this is what I'd like to show in a video. When I set it up to replace it, I got really excited because these plastic studs in here happen to be the exact same distance as the screws that hold the bearings together. And normally the screws went through one of these holes and into the fan. I says, well, these screws go through, I'll just put these screws in there. And that ultimately, the diameter was correct, but the motor sat too high in the frame, and so it would hit the top or the bottom or whatever, it hit somewhere. So then I had to kind of put it on a slant like that, and it got really ghetto because I secured one of those studs with a wire and whatever, but it worked. Ultimately it worked. It's a little bit off center still, but it's pretty close. Come on, unblur. There we go. So I put that blade in there. I had to put a little piece of paper inside the blade hub because the shaft of this was a little larger, but ultimately it fit, and it fit on just fine. It's a close fit in more ways than one, but it fits. It's only a single speed motor, but for this application it's perfectly fine. And the motor is rated for 0.65 amps. This blade set is bigger than what it would have originally come with. That motor is a replacement motor to one of those El Cheapo bathroom exhaust fans. So it's got that small little fan, and it's probably a little bigger than like a regular roll of tape, and it's the plastic fins, one of those blower wheel kind of things, but it's not a centrifugal one. It's just a cheap thing with fins on it. Kind of looks like the inside of a box fan blade. The thing's floating around here somewhere. Anyway, so this blade's much bigger, but ultimately we're allowed to draw 0.65 amps. So let's put this into the kilowatt meter here and plug this thing up. And ignore that beeping. And let's see, what was this in? Amps, I think? Amps. There's the informations for whatever it's worth. 3,000 RPM. I don't know what the RPMs on this motor would have been. It's a model MF-9-20A. Obviously made in China. So I'll plug this in here and it starts right up. It's only one speed, just on or off, but that's fine. So that's going, it's drawing 0.56 amps, and we're allowed up to 0.65, so it's within specification. I did adjust the pitch on the blade a couple different ways, and I found this is about the best place for it to be in terms of running at a decent speed and throwing out air versus being too noisy. Steady at 0.56. I balanced it, it runs pretty smooth now. It was vibrating quite a bit before. And it's not as fast as it was before. This is probably about medium speed. But it moves a decent amount of air, and it's a perfect fit for use in the window down here. Okay, turn it off. And there we go. So it kind of lives up here in the window. And it works out because it's a cheap fan. It's kind of junky. It's already kind of junky from being kicked around and worked for a while. And so if it gets dirtier from blowing exhaust out the window or drawing air in from the window, because this window is low to the ground, so it probably gets some junk in there, you know, whatever. Oops. Okay. Anyways, alright, I'm going to cut the video off here because that was the end anyways.